Cheers, successful
guys.
2023.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'll talk about whatever. My life's all kinds of crazy.
Hit the bell!
Because you have an Android.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Just suck.
Just subscribe already.
And listening to audiobooks. I've almost reached my goal though.
Yeah, what's the goal?
24 was my goal because that was like, I broke it down to 2 books a month. Because I read long books. I read like 800-page books.
Yeah, that's hard to do.
They're fantasy books. But I also told myself I was going to read fantasy books, that I had to read self-improvement books this year. Mm-hmm. So I'm doing that on audiobooks. And
Cool.
I'm counting it towards my total.
Yeah, no,
I have 20.
You definitely should.
Yes.
You definitely should. Which ones have you been?
So
Which was the
Atomic
big one?
Habits was the best one I've done all year.
I don't know if I have that one. It's a big one.
It
I don't know
changed.
if I have it.
I was so reluctant to listen to that one because everyone talks about it, and I feel like I'm not a self-help book in general kind of girl.
Really?
It depends. It has to be really good, or because if it's
It has to be
cheesy,
something
just
you're hungry
pisses
for
me
at the
off.
time.
Yeah,
Right? Like somewhere in your life that you're looking to improve on, that's the book you need.
Yeah, I
you
agree.
need to find that book that is like, okay, I'm having this problem here. What book's
Yes.
going to help me do it? That's how I
Yes.
focus on it.
And I feel like mine was my habits of just like, I need to figure out how to trick my brain into getting into a routine that it's not used to being in, because I've been self-employed for so long. My routines can be very bad. I can
Sure.
stay in bed until whenever I want because I'm my own boss. And
Does that make you feel guilty?
oh my gosh, yeah.
I do the same thing now. I do the same thing. Like I now I set an alarm, but it's
Yeah.
8 a.m. I used to get up at like 5 a.m. and get after it and go, because I was working. I had to be at
Yep.
work at a certain time. And so then it's like in my head that if I'm not getting up early, that I'm like somehow
know.
falling behind, or I'm just being lazy on
I am the
myself.
same way. And the funny thing is I sit and when I'm laying, I say I'm laying in bed. When I'm laying in bed, I'm answering all my emails. I'm doing all my admin work, so I should not feel guilty. But I do. Like I'm laying there, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like my legs are restless. I'm like, I need to get up. I need to get up. But like I told Sam today, we were editing. I'm like, I just finished August 1st, and my contracted turnaround time is 35 days, just because it gives me that time to where I can have that personal life, because I think that's the one thing photographers like it gets confused since we do work from home. People are like, oh, so you're going to be editing like 24/7. And it's like, no, sometimes I have a 3-hour session. Sometimes I have, a 4-hour session 2 hours away. And I can't, that's, 6 hours of my day that I'm not editing, and I'm not going to edit as soon as I get home from working an 6 to 8 hour day. I'm going to cook, clean, all that. And I finally, after reading Atomic Habits, I'm like, there's some things that need to change.
Is that the only one you read?
No. So I also read Green Lights. Oh, that's actually probably one of my favorite books of all time.
Really?
Matthew McConaughey is just amazing.
Was it you that told me to read it, or?
It probably was. I posted on Facebook.
It was Jamie Keane.
Oh, it's Jamie Keene. Do you know Jamie Keene?
Sounds so
She's from St.
familiar.
Clair. She came on my podcast. She was recommending it.
I loved it. And his voice, don't read it, like listen.
Yeah, because he was the one that read it.
He did, yeah, and it's so good. I wouldn't even consider it a self-help book. It's all of his journal writings over the years, and it's actually inspired me to start journaling more and in a different way. So when I was journaling before, I put too much pressure on it. I thought everything had to be this like perfect journal entry and like a start and a finish and all that. Now, if I have a random thought, I write it down no matter where I am. I have a note on my phone. I have a note on my computer. I have a notebook next to my personal computer, all of that. And if it's a random thought, like me and Britt have been manifesting and all that. And so I literally felt the other day, I was like, I am ascending to a higher power. And I wrote it down because you just never know, And that's what this book was just Matthew writing pretty well all of his thoughts on paper from the time he was, I think, 19 to now. And it was so good.
I bet it is. And that's what I don't really understand about journaling. I mean, there's so many successful people that have a journal that they write in every single day. And I've definitely thought about trying it. And I've even bought journals.
Yeah.
To write in, but I do better on my phone.
Yeah, I agree. I do better now that I have my phone or my laptop, because a lot of times while I'm working is when I'm creative. So in the morning, mid-morning, I'd say I thrive at 10:30 a.m. It's my best time of day. but I get so creatively charged that I'm sitting there and I've got all these ideas running through my head and I just have to write them down really fast. Or if I'm listening to an audiobook and I like something that it said, I'll write it down and just like remember it. And then I can look back. Some of the stuff I don't even remember writing.
So are these like notes you're writing to yourself?
Kind of, yeah. I would consider it. Like last night, me and Logan had a really great moment in the kitchen that felt really important to our relationship. So I wrote it down just because I was like, it was such a mundane moment that it could have been forgotten, but it was a big deal to me. We were in the kitchen and he sprayed me with the sink hose. And instead of getting mad, I had a big pot for macaroni and I just like, whoosh, like just
Slung it on him?
slung the whole thing. And as soon as I did it, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. And he just busted up laughing. And I was like, okay, well, that went so much better than I thought it was. And then he like was laughing. He went to go give me a kiss and I like leaned in and he squirted me again with it. And it was just one of those moments where like it could easily get just lost in the mundane of life. And I did not want to forget that. For whatever reason, that moment just felt so good and relaxed and flirty and cute that I did not want to forget it. So I wrote it down before I went to bed.
I see. So you write down anything. Good moments and bad moments.
Good moments, bad moments, anything anything that's sticking out. I journal a lot. Me and Britt journal a lot about each other because we work together a lot on projects and stuff like that. So like if I want something good for one of my friends and I'm thinking about it and I know that they're really wanting it bad, I'll write it down in my journal because I just think that writing things down or like speaking them out, like it does give it power.
Jake Paul's like really big into manifestation. He
works.
writes it. He writes it on his mirror, and he's talked about this from like very early on, from when he was like 18, when he was like just blowing up. And like I remember like he talked about at one time, he's like, I'm going to be the #1 YouTuber. I'm going to have the most subscribers. I'm going to beat PewDiePie on YouTube, things like that.
Yeah.
And he did become like a #1 trending for a long time. And now he talks about how he does, I want to be like the world champion boxer or something like that. So he's really big into the manifestation and writing it down. And he says you got to say it to yourself.
You do. You have to say it out loud. One of the things Atomic Habits taught me was I just say out loud. We don't do that anymore. So like say I have a habit I want to quit. Soda is one habit that I probably need to get back into. I don't want to fully quit it now that I know I quit it for 500 days a few years ago and I know I can do it. I just enjoy it too much.
Sure.
So instead of saying, oh, yeah, I drink soda too much, you would change that thought and say, my name's Kaitlin and I occasionally drink a soda. Mm-hmm. And you just repeat it. I no longer smoke weed. That is a lie. But if I wanted to quit,
sure.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
I no longer do this anymore.
Sure.
I no longer have arguments in my head that aren't happening. And by that, I mean, you know, when you get into it with somebody and you have all these fake arguments in your head, like trying to prepare yourself if you ever meet them, you know, I no longer do that.
Yeah. You know, what's funny is I actually naturally do that with myself.
That's good. That's so good.
And I think I had to learn, and I probably learned it from some book along the way. Or maybe just from like listening to like podcasts like Joe Rogan.
A lot of people, I think that's like a pretty common tool, I believe, in the self-help world. And it was one that I didn't really know about. I think I've heard people kind of, but for whatever reason, the book just spelled it out so much easier for me. Mm-hmm. And it just made sense. Like I no longer let my laundry pile up.
Yeah.
Just things like that. And that has been my main focus this year is just controlling my thoughts. And I'm currently listening to Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer. And I like Joyce Meyer. I like the book, but it's more of those, there's a few things that I'm taking out of it that I really like. And there's some that I'm kind of leaving, you know?
Sure. Maybe just not as much importance on it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Like there's a lot too. Like my faith is strong, you know, like that's the one thing I think people try to throw at you and when you're struggling is, oh, well, you should, you know, your faith, Well, I'm not worried about that. God's annoyed with me when I talk too much, you know, sure, but, okay. Everything else, it's like, I needed something to make a difference. And this book really put in perspective of my mind wanders, and that can be a good thing if you're letting it wander, all the possibilities, all the positive thoughts. all the good affirmations. But if you're letting your mind wander and it's wandering thousands of different places that it doesn't need to wander, it's kind of like, the gas gauge is going back and forth, and that's not healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying by your mind wanders. And I think that, like, with the self-help, self-development books, I think what's nice about those is that, like me with like this habit, like you're just talking about, I naturally do it, but I know it's a good habit, but it's not like something I tell myself, okay, this is what you have to do in order to get rid of some of those bad thoughts or like get out of those bad habits or whatever. The self-help books, I feel like, help define things in your life that are good and bad.
I agree.
And if you, without those, sometimes your mind wanders, and it'll wander sometimes in a good direction, and you don't realize that what you're doing is right, or maybe you don't realize what you're doing is wrong. Mm-hmm. And so you might do something that's right, but don't realize it, and then you somehow never repeat it again.
Yes.
Or vice versa. And so, like, I feel like when you read a self-help book and it tells you, like, this is what you do in this situation, and over time it will fix it. Like, the education that you learn from it is like, okay, in your brain now, okay, you know what the right from wrong, and you can start aiming towards things. Because if not, you're kind of just aimlessly wandering in your mind.
Yes, and that it can be such a dangerous thing because, I was thinking the other day, I wonder how many things that I have said out loud that I have created happen that were negative, because I know the positive ones off the top of my head that I was like, wow, I called that 5 years ago and it happened. So how many of those did I accidentally call by giving it any kind of attention? How big did I make the flame just by constantly doing negative self-talk or negative this or that will never happen? Why can't this? So I remember when we moved into our house, I said, right before we bought it, me and my father-in-law drove past. I said, why can't that house be for sale? That house would be perfect for me. It came up for sale 3 weeks later. And when we got into that house, I said, Logan was talking about how we'd be there a while. I said, we'll be here for about 5 years, I would say. And he was like, no, we're not going to build. I said, we will build when I'm 30. Like, I'm telling you, like, we will be building when I'm 30. Mm-hmm. And we were sitting there the other night, and I looked at him, and I said, hey, guess what? He's like, what? I'm like, we're building when I'm 30. And then we are. Like, we're building our house on land right down the road from where we're at, and I will be 30 when we move into that house. Mm-hmm. So if those things that I've said were going to happen, how many things that I didn't realize that were negative that I was saying happened because you kept telling yourself, like, I just have bad luck, so this is why this happens to me, or whatever, something like that. Yeah. So, like, in your head, have you been telling yourself, like, I'm going to build when I'm 30? Like, is like you set it as a goal? So, yeah.
And it's just kind of like been in the back of your mind, and you kind of push yourself a little more because you're like, I really want to build when I'm 30. Mm-hmm. So you kept pushing yourself to it. Do you think that's why?
So. I think for me too, it was just knowing that we were going to run out of space. But I think in my head, I was like, no, I know exactly where we're going to be at financially at 30. We're going to be very well off. We both didn't plan on having kids. We still don't. I'm not pregnant yet. But I knew that we were, 30 was kind of the number in our head that we were thinking for kids at the time. And now we don't care if it happens, it's fine. But I just knew that we couldn't have kids in that house, for one. It's so small. I'm already out of space. I share my office with a Christmas tree.
That's funny.
So uninspiring.
Yeah, that's not fun.
It's not.
That's not fun.
And I just need, when we move,
and very uninspiring. You're right.
Very uninspiring, yeah. And when we move into our house, it'll be 15 years of business for me. After 15 years, by God, I deserve a studio.
You totally do.
I do. And I could just create so much more art. I could do winter sessions, more product photography, things like that. So, and I know it's because I knew in my heart, like, that's what I needed. Mm-hmm. And I constantly have thought about it for the last 5 years.
Yeah, you definitely have to set goals like that in life. And you have to tell yourself that you can do it. That's what they talk about in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Like,
I need to read it now.
And it's a little bit different, but it's more like he kind of talks about, like, when you come to a spot in your life where it's like, okay, I need to build a house when I'm 30. Mm-hmm. If you tell yourself, I can't do it, your mind shuts down.
Yeah,
like, I
absolutely.
can't afford to build a new house. I don't have enough money to buy the land. I definitely don't have the money to buy or to pay for a brand new constructed home. So when you just tell yourself, I can't afford it, your mind just shuts down and you never think about it ever again.
And
then
that's Logan.
And it just behind you. But whenever you run into a situation like that and you're like, I want to build a house when I'm 30, and you change your mindset to how can I afford to buy this house at 30? All of a sudden, now your brain starts working all the time. You're thinking, what do I need
All
to
the
do?
time.
What do I need to do to make this happen?
Yes.
And yeah, I've learned to do that. And there were some things that I never thought I should have ever owned, including my gym. And I just kept thinking, how can I afford this? Well, okay, I'm going to have to flip a house. I'm going to have to make some money. Or this company that I'm starting right now, I have money set aside, but it's $20,000 just as a startup fee. And I have money, but I have to make sure I have that money for my gym, for my rental properties, and to make sure I can keep my lights on in my house and feed myself.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and so you can keep yourself fed.
Yeah, so I can't just spend all this money I have because literally on Saturday I was just driving, my transmission goes out. Things like that in life happen. So you can't
Surprises.
Yeah, surprises. I've had 2 AC units go out at one time at my gym. Like those are both $30,000 expenses. You can't just spend all your money and hope that it works out in the end. Like you got to have some educated
and backup plan and investing and things
and
like that. There's just so much to, like you said, we just asked ourselves, well, how can we do it? And Logan he goes, I don't know how we're going to do it. And I said, don't worry about it. It's not for you to worry about. It'll happen. It's not for you to worry about. And that is also a mantra that I have started telling myself. It's not for me to worry about. I know it's all going to work out. It has worked out for the last 28 years. So it's all going to work out. It's not for me to worry about. And
just do it and figure it out.
Yes.
All the way.
Britt also, piggybacking off of that, my friend Britt, I don't know. Have you met her?
I don't think so.
She's a creative director. She helps with I photograph her a lot.
Was she part of that restaurant in St. James?
Yes, she was.
Okay, I met her one time.
Creative director there, yeah.
I met her one time.
So she's really cool, and we're really big accountability friends like that. Like we send each other manifestations and stuff. And when she is posed with something that like an uncertain future, she'll go, it's not for me to know. It's not for me to know how I'm going to get there. Like we both want to go to Italy. Well, it's not for us to know how we get there. We just know that we get there and we know that we're not paying for it. That's like her manifestation for us is we're going to Italy and we're not going to pay for it. They're going to pay for us to go, and it's like, yes, I like that. Like how,
okay.
And it gives me chills. I just said it out loud and it gave me chills. But
there's got to be like some like planning in the head, right?
There is eventually. I think it's just that
it starts with an idea.
It starts with an idea. It starts with like a constant idea and a fiery. I also believe that when we forget about those, because I completely forgot that I had told Logan that, we'll build when I'm 30. I've completely forgot about that, so if there might be a time where we forgot that we said, well, we're going to go to Italy and someone's going to pay for it until it happens, and the work that we put in up until it happens, we did subconsciously because we knew we wanted to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you still subconsciously have that in your head.
You do,
like,
always.
Make this happen.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're working towards it. So before we get, because we kind of, I think we're rolling already. We're like.
I was like, I really hope we're rolling.
Yeah, we're rolling. So, Kaitlin, thank you so much for coming back on the podcast. This is your second time coming on. If you guys don't know Kaitlin, go listen to her first podcast, and it'll fill you in on who she is, what she does. But I really want to bring you on, kind of get an update in your life.
Yeah.
And then I kind of sent you a thing where I want to talk about, there's a couple things I would like to talk about. And then there was something that I just recently found out about you, that you're starting a new business.
Yeah.
And so we can maybe talk about that too.
Yeah, I'm
just
down
kind of
for
see
it.
how things go. So there's one thing I wanted to talk about, and you're in photography, and AI is like becoming this really big thing. So I kind of want to touch on that and see how it's impacting your life, how you think it's going to impact photographers in the future. If you're really worried about it, or if it's kind of just like whatever, we'll find a way. So I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
And then I kind of want to talk about just like, because I have a lot of, with this new product that I have, I have a lot of ideas that I want to work on, and I want to know like maybe what you think I should be doing for this product, because I know nothing about photography. It's funny because the first time you came on my podcast, you told me the rule of thirds.
Yes.
Remember that? You remember telling me about that? Mm-hmm. And so then I really kind of started trying to pay attention to more about that. And then I'm not a photographer. Like I make videos, but
They're great.
I appreciate that. I do really appreciate that. I'm never happy with them. Like I think they could probably get 1 million views and I still want to be happy. Like I still because I don't really look at the views or anything like that. It's just, I just always want to make better content. Like I enjoy just making the content, and I just always want to make it a little bit better. Like, and so like that's part of the fun for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad.
But the rule of thirds, I use that. I try to use that all the time. I have the grid on it, so I try to use the grid. I'm like, okay, so like,
Well, it's so good
it breaks it up
to have empty space for your content when you're, if you have like rule of thirds, and when you do it right, I mean, you can kind of have a blank space where you put all of your advertising content on it, or if you need to put typography or whatever over it.
Yeah. So what do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about AI first.
AI first.
I was so
I know you have an opinion on it.
I do. And if you would have actually asked me a couple weeks ago, I probably would have had a more bitter tone about it.
What made that change?
AI is going to have to get better at designing hands.
Yeah.
Before I'm worried about it.
So it's not like already you're like, it's not as good as they say.
It's not as good as they say yet.
Mm-hmm.
I did get some AI headshots made just to test it out. And I'm like, dang, it looks so good, but it still doesn't look real fully yet.
Sorry to cut you off.
No,
when you say you had AI headshots made, what do you mean by that?
So it's an app called Remini, I think. And you just type in, like they have like base models that they use. And then you upload, I think 5 to 30 images of yourself. And then they take those images of you and they make it into a headshot. Either you're in Paris or in an office that you don't have all the things.
Is that a free program?
No, I think you have to pay for it. I think there's a free trial and then you just cancel it, which I need to cancel. I'm really glad that you brought that up.
Okay.
I'm really glad that that is where my totals add up for the month, is the subscriptions that I did free trials for that I didn't realize
that you need to cancel still. So was it not good enough, or was it pretty decent?
It was pretty decent. I did one where I was like, it like generated my future baby, and it literally did look like a child that me and Logan would have produced. It was good, not like scary as I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a baby.
The baby looks real?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'll have to show you on my phone.
Yeah, show me at the end, because I just feel like that stuff never looks real.
So it doesn't look the most real. That's the other point that I wanted to touch on, was it still looks kind of cartoony, I think. But I mean, this is new, so
it can get better.
5 years from now, it can get so much better. I follow these people on TikTok that make A Court of Thorns and Roses book series. They make fan videos that are animated with AI, and it's like watching the TV show. It's not perfect yet. It's kind of choppy with their mouths and stuff, but it's as close as us that love the book are going to get to the book being exactly like the TV show, and it's kind of cool, but it's kind of scary because it's like, where do we go from here? I am not worried about it because I just feel like the kind of work that I produce isn't like any other photographer, and it's also not going to be like AI. I'm taking everyone's personal content. So let's use Fernway as an example, the distillery I just worked for. Okay. AI could not create the emotion that I created in those photos. AI can't capture a moment, that's actually happening. It can only go as far as the person writing it can descript it. So if you have someone that can't even be super descriptive, they don't use a lot of adjectives, things like that, it's not going to be as good anyway. It's very hard.
Yeah, I tried using the Photoshop.
Yeah, and I haven't played around with the Photoshop yet. And
it's a trial, or it's a beta is what it is, right?
Okay, probably, yeah.
And so I bought it for this product that I was trying to mess around with, and like when you watch videos, like TikTok's all on it, YouTube's all on it. It's all over Facebook and Instagram, all social medias, and they make it look like you just circle something and then you type something in and say, change this to this, and it just instantly does it. It's not like that at all.
No.
It's not like that at all. Like I had like a little, literally like a eighth of an inch or 16th of an inch that I just need to fill in and make it look clean. And I circled that spot and I'm like, fill in with same color or whatever. And it could not get it perfect.
I'll have to show you how to do that. Use Content Aware next time.
Okay. Well, yeah, someone that maybe knows what they're doing, but it's
But
like,
still, it's not user friendly.
no, it just wasn't as simple as it was on.
No, and I think that's where you're gonna kind of run into that. I think it would be a useful tool for photographers at some point. Like today, I told Sam I took some pictures while I was with her, and I said, "Man, I wish I could just like AI some lash extensions on my face." She's like, "You probably can." I'm like, "Yeah, but at what point are we like going too overboard?" You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just I don't
feel
know.
like I feel like people have imperfections, and I feel like the AI doesn't create those imperfections that people have. And I feel like like when I'm looking at it, I'm sure there's some out there where people could fool me.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is. But I wonder how much of them is really just like take a photo that's completely unedited, very basic, and then just thrown in AI and then told it what to do, or if those photos that are really hard to see, like the difference between AI, I wonder if those are like AI generated and then edited by a human. I wonder what the difference there is.
There is a couple of photographers that when it first came out, I believe they were using the Photoshop version. I actually could barely tell that it wasn't real because I was just scrolling, and there's some photographers that do editorial work that already like do a lot of editing, heavy editing, lots of bold colors, lots of airbrushing, things like that. So I just thought it was one of those, and I got to looking, and I finally read the caption. And it's like, I've always dreamed of doing this session. AI made it possible. That to me is where I see the problem. Is I've always wanted to do this session, and now I just did it with AI. You didn't do it. AI did it. And it's so much it's just not as fun. If you want to shoot in the desert and then you used AI to shoot in the desert, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
To me, but I think it all just, and you know me, I'm a fence rider, so I can see the good and the bad, but like everything with our society, I'm just afraid I think that they'll just overuse the bad. But I'm not worried as a photographer. And I even saw a girl on TikTok post her headshot from Remini. And she had said, why pay a photographer when you can just get your headshots like this? And I commented, and I was like, I don't know, because I need to pay my bills.
Sure. Yeah. Do
You
you really think it'll come to that point, though, that it'll take over?
I don't think it will. I was always worried about cell phones, and there are cell phone photographers now. The iPhone 14 Pro Max has a pretty good camera that I know a few people that use. That it'll just never be me.
Yeah, because like, you ever heard of Fiverr.com?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I've used Fiverr to make like logos, and I've tried to like use the guys on there to like whatever, make some stuff. I did like a lo-fi edit one time, and they do okay.
Yeah.
Like it's okay. It gets the job done sometimes, but for this new company I just started on, I wanted like a professional logo. I wanted some like professional everything. And there's some things that I just don't know that I need for the branding and like the logo and everything like that. And so I wanted to pay a company that had like years and years of experience that could really help me sit down. Cause they asked me some questions about like, you know, what's the company about? Like, what's this company all about? Like, what are some attributes of the company that are going to stay with it forever? And we're going to build like, the branding kind of around that. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Like I have some ideas for it, but there's some things I just don't know because I lack that. And so that's why I really want to have a professional that has like really knows what they're doing. And I feel like Fiverr, like it's cheap. It can be done. It's a lot
of freelancers.
And I just feel like it's mid quality.
Yeah.
You know, and like if you want really good quality, like professional quality, which I can tell the difference. Like even if it's just like my logo is very basic. I have no it's just the name of the company, and then they like made the logo out of that. But it's still like it's its own unique design.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like I see the design anywhere else. Versus like Fiverr, I feel like it's like the same thing as
over and
everybody
over.
else has.
I think it's a lot of people using Canva and things like that to graphic design. And I'm definitely not dogging on, I use Canva to design. So I'm not dogging on Fiverr or the freelancers that use it. But I think too, like they're all competing with so many people. Like anyone can join, you know?
Yeah.
So, because I've told so many
It's just
people.
not professional.
It's not as,
Just
it's just
not
not.
there.
And it's also not as personal. I'm just a big fan of, I think.
Yeah,
the
you're missing the
businesses-
personal touch.
Yeah, I think
that's
the,
what's missing.
the most successful businesses branding are the ones that make it personal, but then they have the most success out of their brand experience when they book a professional that gives a shit.
Yeah.
You know, if they give a shit about your business, that's a good sign that they're going to do really good.
Mm-hmm.
Because no one cares about your business as much as you do.
Right.
So Fiverr, there's not that personal, connection with the person running it. For me, if I go help, I've got like I can jewelry for instance. I don't normally go buy a bunch of props for my clients, but because they're a wedding engagement ring jewelry store, their flat lays look best on bridal suite decoration. I'm trying to think of the word that I even use for it. Like when I do flat lays for my bridal sets, there's
You
just
want to
different
Google it? We
props.
can Google it. Think it could pop up?
I don't think it will.
No.
I think it's just a photographer term that we use. Anyway, basically what it is a box full of props, which can include ring boxes and ribbons, stamps, old antique magnifying glasses, embroidery, scissors, things like that. And it's all just items that are going to elevate the bride's details, basically. So everything that I have for my weddings, I can use for Kent. So I have no problem going out and buying new dishes every time they do a session. I'll go to the antique store and I'll find little gold plates, little gold accents of mirrors and things like that. Just caring like that. Not a lot of photographers, they'll just show up and shoot,
Mm-hmm.
The same thing with logo designers. They're just going to hear what you have to say sometimes and
somehow
their
people
best.
you can like sniff it out. Like you can
Yeah.
see it. You don't like, there's people that can look at a logo or a photo and you can tell something's off.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what it is, but something's off about it. And it's just like, yeah, that's with anything. Auto body, anything.
Yeah.
Like someone's like, that just doesn't look right. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't look
I think
right.
passion is that line.
You got to have that. Like
You
there's
have
got
to
to
have
be
the
that.
passion. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
because
can like feel it in something.
yes.
Whenever it's done with passion.
I do better photography work in general for businesses. My business work that just wants something plain simple for headshots, they're okay. They'll do the job. Everyone's always very happy with them. But they look very different from my businesses that are like, let's make art. I want this to stand out. I don't want this to look like a stock image that you downloaded. I want this to be unique to our brand and I want it to be art. Those businesses are blowing business A out of the water.
Yeah.
Every time. They're creating something that no one, they can't download online. Like, again, talking about
So
friends.
you help them find that.
I help them find that. I asked them probably the same kind of questions that who you reached out to asked. Where you see this going? Where are these images going to be? Are they for your website? Are they for social media content? Or are they for both? Things like that. I have them. I would love if they send me shot lists. That doesn't always happen for businesses.
A shot list?
A shot list, yeah. So basically every single image they need to keep in condensed. Like, so say I'm having someone just shoot for a website. I need to know where these images are going. Do they need to be landscape? Do they need to be portrait? Do they, what lighting scenario do we need? Do we need more texture added here? Are there words going over this? Things like that. And you can't really get that experience by somebody that...
Or AI.
Or AI.
How are you going to tell, like me, if I'm coming to you, I'm wanting these headshots and I'm needing some photos for my website, I can tell you where they need to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that I want them unique, personable, and I need them to go along with my website and the brand that of my company is. But in my head, I don't have that creative niche. So I'm coming to someone and being like, I need you to tell me what I need to come up with.
Yes.
Like, I don't even know like
Then
what I need to do.
That is the most common client. Now, I do have clients that know what they want. They just can't create it themselves. So those are some of my fun ones to shoot for, especially when I can have a creative director like Britt with me. She has worked with me on a lot of sessions this year, and it just makes my life so much easier because she creates the shot list. She tells me the lighting scenario I need, and I just kind of then essentially click a button. Obviously, I throw my ideas in where I need to, but for the most part, having someone that's their professional job. And that was a big thing too, back in the film days, or even in bigger cities that they shoot a lot of brand product photography. They have creative directors. You know, these large companies, say fashion companies even, they have creative directors sitting there making these lists, making sure, and the photographer is there to do that photograph. We have gotten so far past that in photography.
So you're saying the creative director is the one that kind of helps come up with the creative ideas
Yes.
for it, and then you make them creative ideas come to life. 'Cause you have the eye to be able to put it where it needs to be, but she has the imagination
And the organization, because it's very hard to be creative and organized at the same time. It's more like organized chaos. Like you're just hoping, you have a start to the list, you have an end of the list. And I'm sitting there trying to make sure in my head that I'm photographing and looking at that list and making sure that this is where we're at is where it needs to go for the website and things like that. That's a lot to clog my brain up, so I can't fully digest
it's hard.
what you're
It's hard to
wanting.
stay focused on just taking the photo and making sure the photo turns out good. When you also have to think about how to set up the scenario, how to lay it all out, come up with all the creative stuff for it.
Yes, and I can do that for my clients. I just need that communicated from the get-go. I'm very clear. I don't know what I'm doing. I need a list from you. Can we sit down and have coffee and hash this out, kind of thing? And I'm always happy to do that. I mean, I won't drink coffee, but I'll go talk.
Sure.
But I love it. I love.
But Britt's in on now, on it helping as well, or she does her own thing?
She does her own thing. But a lot of the people I've worked with this year, I've like begged her to go with me. I'm like, I'll take pictures of you if you come with me. And a lot of times she's taking back behind the scenes photo of me, because that was something that I struggled with for a couple of years, was getting even behind the scenes shots of myself. I was kind of branding everybody else. Yeah, I was branding everybody else, and I forgot to brand myself. So
yeah, that happens. I get the same thing, because you're focused on your work, and whenever you're starting to focus on doing your branding on yourself, because that's like a side business on its own, entirely on its own. Like today, I just started working on a house, like just a remodel for a rental, and this was the first time I actually stopped, took a video and pictures of it before. Most of the time I just get in, I'm like, I got to get to work.
Get it out, yes.
And so I've been really trying to just capture all those moments through it and everything like that.
That's good.
It's hard to do.
I forget every time I go. And I think that's one of my problems with social media, is just knowing that we have to do it. Like we have to post the reels. I want to post because I want to post, not because I have to.
Yeah.
But
I think that's like the selfless in us.
Yeah.
Whereas like the people that always remember to take the video of themselves, I think those are probably the more selfish people.
I could see that. And then, that's not necessarily even a bad thing. It just is.
I mean, I just think that me and you are maybe more focused on.
I think we're more focused
clients
and the people. Yeah. Because that is my main focus is serving. If I'm worried about, let me get a behind the scenes shot of you, then I'm not doing my full potential of my session. I'm just not. When I have someone with me, though, it's nice. I have been better about, okay, you're second shooting today. I'm already doing everything that I can for this wedding. It's easy. It's in one spot. Can you focus on getting some of me?
Yeah.
Because I'm still devoting my full attention to the bride and groom, but they're at least shooting me for some. And they're still shooting other people. But just remembering, like, get some candid of me too, I really want,
I always liked the idea of vlogging. Like I always wanted to try it, like just travel vlogs and some random things that I do, just part of things in my life, show a little more of my personality and like things that are just going on. And I always said, like, if I could make some money on YouTube or make some money anywhere on all this stuff, I would put that money towards I mean, better equipment for sure, but then
Yes.
paying someone. Like right now, Ariel helps me with my podcast, doing the live editing. I want to make sure that she gets paid good so that she's enjoying, like looking forward to actually helping. And then I want to have someone help me like walk around and help me vlog and do things like that.
I
And so
totally get
that's
that.
part
And
of it.
I would say that's kind of where I'm looking at with this new product I'm launching. But also, I've got this, I don't know, I'm so close to 1,000 followers on TikTok. And if I get there, I told Logan, I think I'm going to start streaming my video games.
Yeah, you
I play The
should.
Sims and I play Dreamlight Valley. Like streaming live on TikTok, like, I don't know. I just feel like it's something.
If you want to, you should do it. I was
think
doing
I'm
it. I
going
did video games on YouTube for
How
a
do
while.
you do it?
I didn't live stream because my internet sucked.
Okay.
Right? And I just got Starlink.
Do you love it?
I freaking
so
love it.
good.
Dude, I couldn't even upload. I could not upload a YouTube video at my house. I would have
Yeah.
to put it on a hard drive, take it to my gym where I have better internet. I would have to upload it there, and then I would just leave for the day and then like actually click submit the next day. Because here, if I try to do it on my 5 megabits per second that I actually got, and it was 1 megabit per second upload. So extremely slow.
Did you have
I had Fidelity, yeah.
That's who I had when I lived at the farm down
Yeah.
here.
Garbage.
It just is awful. We
So-
had Wave, I think, when we moved. Yeah, Wave when we moved to Rolla, and
Now, Starlink's not cheap. So I didn't actually
No.
get accepted to, like, because like right now, like it's like a wait list. So like only certain people can get it. You have to like pay the put on a list, and then they accept you, and then you can get it. I didn't even get accepted. So what I did was I'm on the wait list still because there's version 3 out now.
right.
So I'm on the wait list for version 3, but I just got so sick and tired of my old internet. I seen that people were selling their version 2 equipment online, and I'm like, I wonder if I could buy it and make it work. And there's a roaming package, and it's more expensive, but you can set it up, and basically I could take it anywhere. I could take it camping, or if I
Yeah.
traveled a lot, I could take it traveling. And so I just did that, bought the setup, pay for the roaming package, and I'm like, screw it. And
It's
10
amazing.
times, probably 5 times better internet. than what
I would say 10. It was 10 times better for me. I couldn't be on my phone and upload pictures pretty much at the same time. It would drop my calls. I haven't had hardly any drop calls as long as my phone's on airplane mode with Wi-Fi calling. Since we bought it, we get like around 120 megabytes per second most days.
That's awesome.
I know. It told me I had degraded service one day, and I checked it out and it said 32 megabytes. I was like, wow. Wow.
Yeah, that's way, because before insanely better
Yeah.
than what Fidelity had.
I think I was paying $100 a month for 3 megabytes per second upload with Wave.
It's such a joke.
It is. And it
It's a
was
scam.
we couldn't get it get anyone else. So it was like tough shit.
And there's nothing to Starlink.
No,
Like
it
obviously
was so easy.
Elon Musk had to put like satellites in the sky, but it's not no crazy new technology. Like anyone in the
Mm-hmm.
world, there's lots of very rich, smart people out there that could have done this same
Mm-hmm.
thing. These companies like Wave and all these other ones, like even Fidelity, they're just cheaping out. They're just going the cheap route.
Well, and it's just it just is an outdated way.
Even Fidelity, they could run fiber optic cables. They just don't.
We had apparently at our house in Rolla, there's fiber dug under there, and they just don't. I don't know. We never did get a clear answer.
Did you ever, like, how long ago was that?
I'd say right when we moved in.
You get ready to move out, though, right? You get ready
Yeah.
to building.
Yeah.
I was
We have Starlink. I don't know what version we have, but we got that, I think, April last year, or the year before.
your post was the one that I always went back to, because I would always look
A lot of
online
people
for it,
have,
and I'm
yeah.
just like, see if anyone else had it and see what they thought.
I
And
still get questions. People are like, "Do you still love your Starlink?" I'm like, "Yeah."
I just wondered
Changes
if
my
maybe
life.
they had ran fiber and you could get it now.
I
Like if
don't
you
know.
recalled, because
I haven't called.
now it's like if you like in town, I'm out of town, so I can't get it. But in town where there is fiber, it's 50 megabits per second for $50 a month. So it's cheap.
It's cheap.
You can do 100 megabits per second for.
But are you
$100.
actually getting that? Is it Fidelity? Are you actually getting it?
No, I'm sure they don't get it, but you can get 1 terabyte for like 125.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's 1,000 megabits per second.
Yeah.
Or 1 gigabyte, which
That's
is
crazy.
damn good. Yeah,
That
for
is really
125.
good.
And That's something Starlink just won't be able to compete with. But
Yeah.
if you don't have it,
but I don't.
Starlink's your best option.
And I don't really need either.
I was just thinking about your live streaming. Like
my live streaming.
If you tried
I don't
doing
know.
it.
So I can watch Twitch just fine.
Yeah, but that's download.
Yeah, download.
It uploads the.
I can upload a wedding in like an hour, and that's 2,000 photos. So I don't know.
You got to have a lot.
You gotta have a lot
because like you're uploading. You're like as you're recording, as you're live streaming, it has to upload it instantly.
So here's what I'm thinking about doing, and this is not the good way. This is the once I start making money, we'll approve upon it kind of way. But I see some people that when they live stream on TikTok, they've got their phone set up by their computer, and they're just showing them moving around the stuff on. But I mean, that's obviously not the good way to do it. I know that's the cringe.
OBS is the way to do it for sure.
Yeah.
OBS, you can connect your OBS to TikTok.
Okay, and that's what you use for this? Yeah, I finally got a Windows computer, so we should be able to have OBS now.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
The program, it's free and it just does wonders.
I'm excited.
It just wonders. You got to get the equipment too, though.
I know. I'm just glad I found my Blue Yeti. Like I said, I ate a 5 milligram edible the other day just to see where the day took me. And it took me.
Somehow you found a Blue Yeti with it?
Yes. Well, okay, so I found the Blue Yeti before the edible. I found the Blue Yeti. It was in my grandma's.
And then you recorded a podcast.
Yeah, so it was like, it was sitting, my microphone was just sitting, staring at me. And I thought, why can't I'm editing. I'm going to plug my mic in. I'm going to start talking. I'm going to ramble. And if it's good, we post it. If it's not, we just trash it. What's the worst that can happen?
Right.
So I sat there and I ended up recording over 40 minutes.
Cool.
And it was just like about how I was feeling, where I'm at in the year. I talked about how I plan on posting more and how I realized I lost your episode that we recorded in January during the podcast. And it was really funny because I'm like, wow, I'm realizing this just now live. And like you could hear Sadie in the background being a shit. And I'm like, this is exactly what I want. Like, I just want whatever I want.
Sure. And I feel like if you're going to get back into it, that like you just need to start fresh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, and I like the idea of doing guests, but also if I have something that on my heart that I want to talk about, it could be called like secret sessions or something like that. Well, I think that's a Taylor Swift thing. So I don't know if I could. It might be. It might be branded.
TM'd, trademark or something.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm sure you can come up with something for it. I like the idea of doing solo ones.
I did too. It was very therapeutic for me. I'm not gonna lie. I had like several therapy type breakthroughs while I was talking. I'm like, wow, this is so cool.
Well, it's kind of like you're journaling.
Yes, and that's what it felt like, was journaling, just like getting my thoughts out. I talked about how I don't want to be famous, and I was scared that I was gonna get famous, and that's why I quit recording. It's because all my listeners were in Chicago, and I don't know anyone in Chicago. I'm like,
You were worried that you're going to get famous?
Yeah, I don't want
You just don't want, like, I feel like that's like the best part about it. I like the idea of creating a community.
That I like.
Yeah.
But I don't want anyone to feel like because I'm making money because they comment on my videos that they hold stock in my life or that I owe them. Mm-hmm. It just drives me wild.
See, that's a crazy thought to me because that doesn't even cross my mind.
It crosses mine. But I think it's because I see people comment on like the celebrities I really like.
And they change things based off of it.
And I'm like, I'm not changing for anybody. Like anybody.
That's actually, yeah, I've seen that before. And I guess that thought has ran across my mind. But that's also why I want to grow and see like if I will be one of those people that change based off of what other people want, or if I stay true to myself.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of people that I pay attention to that have stayed very humble, or maybe even got more humble as they've grown, or just stay true to themselves. And those are the ones I really like. Yeah,
I agree. I listen to Whitney Cummings, and I feel like she goes about it the right way. And I'm just like, oh, I know you people. As soon as I post this, you're going to have something to say about da-da-da-da-da, and makes a joke out of it. It's really funny. Joe Rogan always says he doesn't read comments. He posts and ghosts.
That's which a great would probably way to do it.
I was actually thinking about this on the way here, about a solution to what I could do if I got to that point. And I was like, I think I would just hire somebody to delete all my negative comments.
You think so?
I think I
well,
would.
You can, that's like a filter.
Oh, you can
like
filter that?
filter stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anything with
absolutely.
cuss words in it, or like have like certain words that are blocked, things like that.
I think I would. And, you know, people like have opinions about that. I'm like, it's my page. If I don't want to see the negativity, I delete people's comments, even on my personal Facebook if I don't like it.
I've deleted people off my Facebook.
Yeah.
If they said something. There was a dude one time that I made a post on Facebook. I was needing like a motor or something. I just made a post, and the guy commented, he's like, "You're too cheap to buy a new motor." And I'm just like, why even say that? Like, what? Like, why?
Why?
Like, what was the point of that? And I was like, okay, I don't need you on my Facebook.
I do not like unsolicited opinions. If I'm like sitting there saying, Brian, what color should I paint my house? Your opinion matters to me. Tell me what color to paint my house. But if I go, Brian, I'm painting my house black, and you go, oh, why would you blah, 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 blah.
I don't like that either.
I don't
totally
like
agree.
that. Like, I'm like, I was so excited about it until you just told me a million reasons. Logan, yes, when I tell him I want to paint the house black, I want him to say, well, babe, don't you think the electric bill is going to be a little bit higher? Yes, I do. But I don't want to hear that from anybody else that's not living in that house.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I've been working on things before, like my gym when I first got it, and I had all these ideas for it. And then the people that never been in that situation, have no money in the building at all, and nothing. They were trying to tell me what I need to do to remodel my place. And I was getting them from all over the place. And I just started to have to tell people, like, I'm like, thank you. I appreciate your opinion, but I have things in my head that this is how I'm going to do it. This is, I want it like this because I want it like this. And that's just how it's going to be. So like, sometimes I'm like, let me ask you for an opinion. And it just got like that. I was like, if I want your opinion, I'm going to have to ask you for it. But I have a lot of stuff going on. This is my goal. This is how it's going to be.
That is probably the fastest. That is the fastest way to make my temper flare, to be honest. I do not like it. I have been independent since I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
And I get that you should obviously listen. People know better. And I don't think I know better than anybody else. But I don't want somebody coming into my life telling me how to run it if they're not going to be running it with me.
Sometimes you just got to do it. And
sometimes you just go, oh, okay. And then just don't listen. That's what the whole housing process, I've not even announced that we're building online because I'm like, as soon as I post that, it's going to be a million people. Will you use us? Will you get a bid from us? Will you do this? Will you do that? Well, blah, 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 blah. It's like,
yeah. Just let me go.
I don't want to do any of it.
Use the people that I want to use.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, because there's some people out there that are very pushy too. Very pushy. And they're going to make you feel bad if you don't use them. And it's like, I don't know.
Make you feel bad for choosing. So I will use this as an example because it's a safe example of this. So I went to go buy my Jeep that I have now. The first dealership I went to, the finance guy could not understand why I was so adamant about the size touchscreen that I wanted. And the vehicle that they had there had a smaller touchscreen. It was older than the year I wanted. It had a little bit more miles, and it was $8,000 over budget. I told my sales rep, I said, this is the one, Laura and Sullivan. Can we get something like this? I wanted to do local. Like, I wanted to be local so bad. Which Sullivan is still my hometown, so I still consider it. My cousin was my sales rep, so still consider it local. But the finance guy came out and was like, well, I'll tell you what, I got off the phone with our mechanic guy, and he said he could put you a bigger touchscreen in. And I said, okay, at your cost or my cost? Well, yours. I said, so the car's already $8,000 over budget. You want me to add $2,500 to that? And he goes, just tell your husband it's a few extra dollars on the payment a month. And I looked at him and I was like, well, my husband's not going to be on the title. I am.
I'm making the payment.
He goes, well, you know what I mean. I was like, no, I don't. My husband doesn't care if I spend $50,000 on a vehicle or if I spend $10,000 on a vehicle. I'm paying for it. So then he goes out and he goes, well, did you see this 20 da-da-da? I was like, yeah. It still didn't have the right size radio. He goes, get over the freaking size of the radio. Told me that.
Wow.
And I just looked at him and I was like, no, that's what I want.
Yeah,
Why would you... No. So then my sales rep said, this is what she's looking at Laura, Can we call and see if we can get it? No, forget it. If she wants to look at Laura, they won't work with me. I'm not going to call them. I'm going to tell you right now, Laura was the best experience I ever had. The best. And it wasn't just because my cousin was my sales rep. Their finance guy was nice. Everything.
Wait. So you were at, where was the first place at? You don't want to say.
I don't want to say.
Okay. So, but you went to some place.
Yeah.
That you were trying to shop local for.
Yes.
And then, they were just being pushy because they want you to buy this
so
vehicle.
pushy and so rude about my wants. My wants didn't matter. Mm-hmm. They just wanted to sell the vehicle, which I get. It's their job to sell a vehicle. But I was literally telling them, I'm willing to pay extra than I'm going to pay 30 miles down the road just to keep it here. And they wouldn't do it. And they were acting like it was like this impossible dream. Just the finance guy. My sales rep was embarrassed, to be honest.
And a lot of times it's like, because at the end of the day, like you should be able to choose.
Well, yeah, if I'm going to spend 30 grand on a car.
Yes, especially when there's money involved. You should get to choose where your money goes. You worked for it. You should get to choose, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of it is just being happy with the experience that you get from it. I'm the same way. Like there's people that I want to support, but I didn't like my situation I didn't like the way the things were handled. Like maybe, like say if I'm working on a house and I try to tell them this is how I want it. And then they try to tell me, no, this is how we have to do it. Oh, and also it's going to cost you more money. Okay. I'm not going to use you again. Or I'm going to try to find somebody else because it just doesn't always work out. Sometimes, most of the time it's not like, It's
the main reason why I told Logan, I said, I don't know that I want to be involved in the contractor process while we're building because I don't want to be talked down to like I'm stupid. I know I don't know what I don't know. But if you just don't want to do that color because I want, I don't want to.
I've done it just straight off of eyes before. Like I don't know, like my HVAC one time went out and I had a company come out and they told me it was a local company, same ordeal. They told me it was going to be they said the HVAC unit's done. I wasn't like, they're like, we put $500 in parts. There's no way it can operate. It's just done for. And they're like, it's going to be $5,500 for a whole new HVAC system. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, that's going to, because this was like early on too. It was my very first rental property. And I was like, man, this is going to hurt. Like, this is my bank account at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I told him, I was like, I'm going to have to get a second opinion. And I went all off of just like gut feeling. I'm like, this is insane.
Were they rude when you asked first? You said that you wanted to get a second opinion? And we're like, okay.
Yeah, they were basically like, okay. They didn't really, they're just like, yeah, okay, see if I was actually going to do it maybe, like call the bluff.
Yeah.
I called somebody else. They came out because I was just like in my gut. I was like, man, there's something off here. I don't feel like I should have to replace this right now. Called somebody else. First time I ever met them, I just looked up like based off reviews, tried to go local, called them, explained the situation, tried to stay, I'm like, I feel like they were just trying to sell me a new unit. Mm-hmm. Call this other HVAC company. They went out. It was a $12 part. They put it on. It was up and going. Like it was running that day. And so then I called the other company. I was like, hey, I had this other company come out. It ended up being a $12 part. We got it fixed. I'm up and going. Just send me, I have all because they put a part on it and that was like $400 or something. I'm like, I can bring that part in sometime in the future. But I ended up going that route. And they're like, okay, no biggie. But the service guy that came out to work on it, he somehow got my personal number and called me. I didn't answer because I didn't know.
Yeah.
And cussed me out in a voicemail. He was like he was like dropping F-bombs, all kinds of stuff.
I just can't imagine.
I was just absolutely
Secondhand
blown away.
embarrassment for the guy.
Yeah, and I called the company. I was like, hey, I don't know why I'm not a professional. Mm-hmm. And I called a professional and they said they fixed it and it's up and working. It's perfectly fine. This guy said I was going to blow the whole house up, everything like that. Like, he's like, you're putting everybody in the house at risk. You're going to blow the whole house up. He's like, there's no way it should ever work. It ran for years without a single problem. But I mean, he cussed me out and I called the company and I said, hey, I don't know why your guys' service tech's calling me, cussing me out about this. I hired a professional company. I don't know nothing about HVAC. They said it was good. I'm going to trust them. It's up and working. I'm going to trust what they have to say. And yeah, you get stuff like that, those situations like that. And it's just like, I don't know. Yeah. I just don't like dealing with stuff like that in life.
I don't either. I don't understand. It's just so much easier in life too, to just be like an honest person, mm-hmm. and just be kind and real.
I never went back to that company after that.
I wouldn't.
It's a local company, and
I feel like I probably know which one it was too.
yeah, you probably do. But
Yeah.
same thing with your
Car-ish.
your car thing. You know, it's like
Yeah.
I'm not looking to bash on anyone.
No,
I don't
I'm
want to
not
make anyone
either.
look bad.
Yeah.
But I get that same thing. I get that same situation with people with insurance, trying to sell me insurance.
Yeah.
It's everybody and their brother sells insurance, and someone starts selling insurance, and they're like, "Hey, you should let me quote all your stuff." And I'm like, "I've been with this guy
Yeah.
for
I'm not
years. He
gonna
treats
leave.
me good. Yeah, and now you just want me to start, just change everything over to you." Just because we know each other.
Yeah.
And that's what they all try to do. They all be like, oh, well, we've known each other for years and
I
I'm trying to
hate
get started.
that.
Yeah. I'm like, if I have a problem, I'll come to you and I'll quote you. But when I come to go to you to get quoted and you're more expensive, don't be upset with me.
Well, yeah. No one's.
I'm just trying to
gonna
save
know
a buck.
you. Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
it's just business, like it's my rental properties. It's my gym, things like that. I'm
At
like,
the end of the day, you have to figure out where you're spending too much money,
Yeah.
where you can save, and where you can take that money that you're saving off of however much.
especially when this other person
Less you're
is a
paying.
friend as well.
Yeah.
They try to act like like you're their only friend, and yet you have to go to them. And I'm like, no, it's
See, and I'm
sorry, but it's not like that.
I don't understand businesses like that because I could be mad at so many people.
Yeah, you would be pissed off all
I
the
would
time.
be pissed off all the time.
Yeah.
I don't even. The thing is
It's one thing if they're bashing you,
yes,
right? It's one thing if somebody was like, oh, Ryan's gym sucks.
Mm-hmm.
If blah, blah, like this, you shouldn't go there because this machine isn't good, or the way he runs it isn't good. I could understand being upset about that.
Yeah.
But if I've even referred people to other gyms before. Like they don't like something about my gym. I'm like, okay, well, there's one down in Bell. Maybe go check that one
I
out.
do the same thing with photography. Like if I have a client that I actually have one client right now that I think I'm going to have to end up saying like, hey, I just might not end up being your best fit because we're having to tailor so many different things out of their photos. Being very careful how I word it so they don't realize it's them. But anyway, if I think that you're going to continue being unhappy with your experience, I would rather you go somewhere that you're going to enjoy your experience, or you're completely happy with your editing style, time of day, things like that, than work with me. If you're only forcing yourself to book me, I don't want it, you know?
And I think that businesses do better when they just try to work together, right? There's actually a really cool book you should add to your list. It's not very big. It's called The Go Giver.
Oh,
And
it does sound like one I
It's
would
an
like.
absolute. You would really like it.
Okay, good.
And I didn't really realize it, but it was something that they do. It's like in the first chapter, and part of just being this go giver of a guy was he works in some big firm, and I don't know, they have accounts, and he's trying to get us close a really big account because he has to meet a quarterly goal, and he has to do it by Friday, and it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And this guy calls, and he's like, hey man, he's like, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to cancel. We're going to have to go a different route. And he's like, at the beginning of the chapter, he was like, I'll do everything I can do to convince this guy to stay. But by the end of the chapter, he realized that if he's just going to be a go giver, that he needs to just maybe try to refer him to find a way to help somebody else out and just give something out for free.
Yes.
And that was a referral. So he's like, hey, I got this other guy that sells insurance. I don't know what they're selling, but he's like, give this guy a call. He's really good. He's overseas and he handles big accounts like this. He's like, he might be able to help you out, and he sent him that direction. And I feel like in business, you got to be, you got to be like that because it'll go back and forth.
It will. It really will. One of my friend Christy, she came and spoke at one of my workshops, and one of her philosophies was, and just business practice in general, even if she was booked for that event, she would send them a list of 3 photographers in different budgets. So highest end of the budget, lowest end of the budget, median. She would send them her own bridal checklist that she would send her other brides and things like that. Here you go. Here's your recommendations. Those clients that she gave those recommendations to, they did book another person. And she would even do this for the ones that were out of their budget. She would still send them these checklists, still send them this bridal info. Those
Just
people,
free, for
just
free.
for free. She already knew she wasn't booking them, but she sent it anyway. probably at least half to 70% of those clients still referred her over their professional that they had. She is a violinist. Yeah, violinist or cello. I can't remember. Got strings. She like does music for weddings and stuff.
Okay.
In Nashville, or she was in Nashville. It doesn't matter. Anyways, they would recommend her over the person that they
Over the
booked.
person that they actually used, just because she was so friendly
she
and
went
helpful.
the extra mile. Yep. And it goes with photography too. I have people, if I'm booked out, they still recommend me based off their experience, how fast I replied, the content of what I replied, things like that. You just have to be constantly on your game. I think what a lot of these business people or business owners and even employees of bigger businesses don't realize is everything is starting to become more business owner focused. A lot of people want to be entrepreneurs right now. They're hungry. They're hungrier the ones that have been doing it for 15 years, and they're going to be kinder than you. You're going to have to watch it. You're going to have to watch what you say, you know, because that guy yelling at you, cussing you out, you never went back.
I never went back.
You never went back. And you'd probably tell your friends not to go back.
I do.
Yeah.
I at least warn them.
Warn them. Yeah.
Like, just be careful, because like my parents ended up using the company too, and then they tried to do the same thing. Just tried to sell them a new
We've
unit.
had that happen to us before.
You know, it's just like, it's hard to recommend them. Versus this other company, I will call the lady that I use now. Her name's Angie, that owns the company. I'll call her and she'll give me free advice.
All the time.
Yeah, I'll just call her and be like, hey, I got this going on. What do you think I should do here? And she'll sit down. She's like, okay, well, let's figure this out, Ryan.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on with the unit,
Yeah.
or something, or just something little that I don't know. I feel like most people wouldn't give you the time of day for.
It's the same thing with branding. I have brand clients. So we'll use Leatherwoods as an example. And yes, we are like
So
good
cigar
friends.
lounge for anyone that doesn't know.
Cigar lounge. He called me one day and he said, I got ideas I just need to hash out. And normally my brand clients pay me $175 an hour for basically a therapy session to hash their ideas out. But I value his partnership so much. And he's already booked so many sessions that for me, it was like, yeah, Ryan, yeah, Robert, like, let's sit down and talk about your ideas and hash it out. You know, I do that more often than not, because that keeps people coming back. When they have a listening ear and that person's also going to come in and take care of their business photography and therapy wise, almost, you know, I will call it consulting, not therapy, but it just, they're more apt to continue coming to you versus someone that's just like, hi, bye, I'll come in and shoot. And
yeah,
just
they're
serving.
getting something out of it. Like you're offering, I mean, you say you charge for some of it, you say you do a lot of it for free, and it's just offering that to your customers, like to have something there. I think that's really important.
Which I trade a lot too. I actually have an idea that I want to trade for studio space for this business's monthly. Like, I'll do a monthly photo shoot of their products if they let me have the other half of their building. I don't know if they'll do it, but at least until I get something built.
Okay, that'd be interesting.
Because I know what their product is. I already shoot their product anyways, and it's very easy for me to shoot. It would take an hour once a month. Have it pre-scheduled. They have their basket ready to go once a month. Absolutely. That is so worth having a studio space.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't talk about the product.
Yeah, so let's talk about your new product.
Yeah.
So we're gonna skip over the product branding thing that I was kind of going to talk about. We can follow up on that.
Yeah,
we kind of touched on some of it.
We
too.
did, and I feel like there's certain things that I won't be able to word without giving stuff away.
I was just yeah, because I don't want to talk about my product in particular, but I was just kind of thinking like, yeah, I don't even know how I could say it.
No.
I don't even know how I could say it. I don't even know how I could say it.
If it circles back around,
Maybe we'll just talk about it off the podcast.
that'll work. Yeah,
That'll work. So you have a new product coming out.
I do.
And that you haven't talked about anywhere in the world yet.
Anywhere in the world,
yet.
yes. This is the first place. My own mother-in-law, who is like my best friend, did not know about this until last week. And I've been working on this since January. I am actually putting out a planner designed specifically for photographers. And it's going to kind of eliminate the need to have multiple avenues of systems online. And it won't be probably for everyone. I know a lot of people like that cloud save backup, always access on their phone kind of thing. But I wanted something that you could physically write down keeping track of your payments, keeping track of did you make cash or did you make credit? What are, password information, monthly edit lists, monthly to-do lists, monthly goal lists, all in the same planner. So in your month you're currently in, say we're in August. In August's section, you flip the page, there's your month to-do list, there's your monthly edit list right there. Expenses, all of that. I basically took like the Ag SAE book and merged it with everything that I needed in my business.
For photography.
For photographers, yeah.
And you said there's going to be a physical copy?
A physical copy, and then I plan on releasing as well on the Kindle e-store. That way, if you have a Kindle or an iPad, you can download it, and then you can even just write in it from...
Do you think you'll ever... Is it in your plans to make like an app or a program that someone could have?
It wasn't, but I mean, I'll never say never.
Yeah, maybe if the company...
Yeah, if I make enough money off of it.
If it continues to grow.
Because I plan to funnel all of the money that I make off of this into a money market account that I pretend doesn't exist.
Okay.
And just let it grow.
And then keep putting the money back into the company.
Keep putting the money back into the company. I plan to use it because I'm doing it through Amazon KDP. So I'll just use it to boost the sales in KDP.
So they're going to be able to get it on Amazon?
Amazon.
Are you going to have a website for it too?
I don't think so. I might have a link on my own website. So when I switched over to Kaitlin Mace Photography, I bought the domain KaitlinMace.com because I didn't know that photography would be forever, but I knew Kaitlin Mace would. So whatever that brand evolved into, I would have just a plain website to send them to. So I can even just / KaitlinMace.com / it's called the Bustle Planner.
The Bustle Planner.
Bustle.
I love it. I think that's a great name for it.
Yeah. The hustle and the bustle, it gets lost in it all. So.
Yes. So you're basically taking multiple different planners right now and fusing them together,
them all together. And I've Googled, I have researched, and there are plenty of awesome photography planners out there, but there's none like this one. This one has pretty well whatever the other one was missing and this one was missing. It combines them all into one, and it's going to be a 2-year calendar. So 2024, 2025.
Yeah, because that just makes life so much easier.
Yes.
Because it's not like, I buy like a planner right now just to write like my monthly stuff on, like has a calendar and I write my stuff down in. That's how I keep track of all my stuff.
Yeah.
But it's only for 1 year.
Yeah.
So
I book. So photographers especially, there are some photographers that wish it was a 3-year calendar. And that might be something that I expand on. And that is something that I'm willing to listen to fans on when they buy it, is what do they need differently?
Maybe eventually 1, 2, and 3 year.
Yeah.
Have 3 different ones.
Yeah. And that's
for whoever wants it.
It was so easy to create for me because I knew exactly what needed to be in it. I could see myself absolutely designing additional planners, additional types, all kinds of, like you said, 1, 2, 3 years, all that. You
said you also, because we talked about it a little bit before the podcast, you said that is there a section in it for people that do social media?
Yes.
How do you explain it?
So I have a page in the beginning that is, I can't remember the exact number of content ideas off the top of my head, but it's a page full of content ideas. It should be around a month.
So these are like template ideas.
Ideas to post on Instagram, TikTok, all of that. I wish I had it pulled up so I could show you. I should know this like the back of my hand.
Well, it's still in the works.
It's still in the works.
Like you haven't actually fully launched the product.
Yes, it has not fully launched. It should. I'm planning on using this episode to share and launch it. Sure. But I'm aiming, which I guess 3 weeks technically wouldn't be October, but I might build excitement. I might plan to release in October because I feel like October is when Christmas shopping begins. Mm-hmm. So really,
you should think about getting Jeff Walker's to launch. That book. If you're trying to consume books right now.
I am. I've got Audible credits. You should get it.
There's an extended version on there, or there's an original version. And I think you might, because he has some really good tactics.
And I've never launched a product before. Same. And I'm already so bad at I need to watch how I word that. I could use improvement on my launch tactics as it is, because sometimes I'll be like, oh my gosh, I need to make money. I need to make more money this month. And I'll just willy-nilly release a mini session. And I'm like, cool, school started today. No wonder no one's booked a fall mini.
Back to the beginning of the podcast. We were talking about there's things that you start to do that sometimes, like you might be doing the right thing, but you don't even realize you're doing the right thing because of maybe the lack of education on the subject.
Yes.
So, and that's where, like, that's kind of how I felt. Like I've launched products or I've launched things before, like for the gym or something that probably could have used some hype built up on it. So I think maybe even if you're trying to consume books.
No, I think it's a great idea. I'm going to add that one because like I said, I mean, I spend hours in front of the computer editing. So I might as well be fueling my brain with healthy thought. And it's made a huge difference. I don't remember you remember my word from the year was flourish. And the other day, and I'm going to have a self audit. Like I'm going to sit down and like figure out where am I at? You know, am I flourishing? Am I not? And I actually think that I am. And I think it's because I put so much intention on how can I improve myself? I'm not worried about anyone else around me anymore. I could care less about gossip. I could care less about petty things. I truly want to, and I could care less about competing anymore. I want to compete with myself, and not even compete with myself.
No, I think so. I'm competing against myself. I want to be better every day.
I've always said that, but it almost feels like a weird thing. I don't know. Like
I think that's the best thing you can.
It is, and that is. I compete. I guess that is. I compete with myself. I want to be better than 1% better every day. You know, just
you're just trying to be a better person.
And that Atomic Habits, circling back to the beginning of the podcast, it talks about doing better in small increments because it's just not realistic to be
stepping stones, right?
Yes, not realistic to be 100% better overnight.
So, would you say the focus of your plan or this product that you're making is to make people's lives
so
better?
Much easier, better?
You're trying to just like.
I'm trying to take the frantic going through multiple avenues of websites and platforms and apps and all these things and combining everything we need into one. You know, where it has your password. Oh, it also has a bill and subscription tracker in it. So photographers, for instance, I pay monthly for Lightroom. I pay monthly for Canva. I pay monthly for CloudSpot. My insurance, things like that.
Okay, so for photography, you have multiple different programs that you can't just buy the program. You have to pay $10 a month, $20 a month for the program. So you have to keep track of it. And because that's how they get you a lot.
It is.
That's how they get a lot of your money because, you know, like that program you said for the headshots, you set up a subscription for it. You don't, unless you're checking your bank account statements.
You don't know.
You don't even know what's going through. Maybe if it sends you an email confirmation, but I don't think you always.
On some things you don't. I know at least on CloudSpot, and I don't know that Adobe might send me one. It just might go to a folder that I don't. It's not on my immediate folder.
Sure.
But at the same time, if you write down everything that your bills are and you total that up on that page in the planner, you can write that total number, and then you know how much you need to make that.
Okay, so it has like a list spot for all your subscriptions, and then it has what they cost a month. Oh, so you can put that in. So you can
total all of that, what it costs a month, and write that down so you know. Okay,
I'm spending $125 a month.
On what? Yeah, and you're like, on what? Or say $150 a month. So that's a low number.
Is it? That's a low number for
I would for expenses for a photographer, I think it is. Because business insurance.
Well, let's just say 500 then.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Somewhere it depends. You know, do you have a studio, things like that.
So you would put insurance on there?
Yeah, I have business insurance, so I put my business insurance on there. I write off part of my house, so I could even put part of my mortgage on there. And you could even use it for your personal things too. So you can write down your bills you can write down Netflix, everything that you have. Then you're also already kind of ahead for your taxes, and it's all already in there. So you can either hand them the sheet or you can put it into your Excel sheet. I know other people use QuickBooks, and it probably is easier. But I like to have mine on paper. That way I can kind of.
I use an Excel sheet for mine.
Yeah, I use I'll start out writing mine so I can keep track, and then I transfer over to an Excel sheet.
Yeah, and it's extremely inconvenient because I have Excel sheets for all kinds of things. And so I'm like, I have to use this Excel for this and this Excel for this. And then I have to pull them all together and send them to my lady that uses QuickBooks.
Yeah.
So it's not it's not a flawless.
No, and I don't know that there is a completely flawless solution to any of it. But this is at least
You're trying to minimize.
And I'm also trying to minimize being attached to the screen, because I think that's something photographers already spend a lot of time doing. I know my headaches have come back really bad this busy season. I've finally limited myself to either 2 small galleries or 500 images a day, which is still a lot. I don't ever think it doesn't sound like a lot to me because I'm so used to 2,000 photo galleries, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
And it's hard on your eyes.
I can't, like when I have to edit my podcast or something, or if I'm trying to make clips, I give myself like a couple hours in the morning. And then after that, I'm like, I got
Do you get grumpy?
Yeah, I do, because I'm not,
grumpy.
I don't want to sit at a computer. I'm not happy.
We're not, the human body isn't really designed for it, to be honest. It's designed to move.
It's in this room here. There's no windows in here. There's no fresh air in here. Like I'm like 2 hours in and I'm drinking caffeine. I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta do something.
No windows, you would definitely go stir crazy because you don't know what time of day it is if you're not looking at the clock. Yeah. So I just end up having to condense down. And to be honest, I'm way less burnt out. I'm happy with how my business is going. I gave everyone an extended turnaround time this year of 35 days. We're still under 35 days, but I know in my head. So I finished August 1st today. I might go ahead. I think tomorrow I have a chiropractor appointment and then I have a photo shoot at night. So I'm going to take pretty well the middle of the day off tomorrow because I'm caught up enough. Now I need to get caught up on my house, and just try to get into those routines of balancing work life, because I can get in my head, oh, I'm really good at making money. I'm really good at business. I'm not great at cleaning the house. Okay, but what if I could be both, Like I understand, like me and Logan share duties, but he's going 90 to nothing working on our property, trying to get it ready to build. He's doing a lot of that excavating work. He's doing a lot of trimming the trees and things like that. So it's like double
He's
time.
not at your actual house.
No, he's not at our actual house. And it actually took an argument of how I was feeling for him to figure out he was feeling that way about, okay, I can't do both. I know that you're busy. I know that you're shooting more and more and more than you ever thought. But I'm not at the house and I can't get our new house and this house ready at the same time.
So in this planner, is there a month? Like, is there like a month thing where you can write in the days?
You can write your bookings in the month. I made sure that the squares were big enough that way you could write. I recommend writing in pencil just because
you can erase it.
You can erase it, yeah. And clients are fickle.
Yeah.
They just are. Things happen. It's nothing that they're fickle. It's just life happens.
Oh, yeah. So people are going to cancel.
People get sick. That's why we do deposits.
Is there daily ones too? Like where you can go in and like.
I did not do a daily one. I felt like that the to-do lists and the edit kind of took care of that. And I just feel like photographers usually, like, we're trying not to be checking just the little one day thing. Because for the most part, we usually have like 3 to 5 clients. So at least on the to-do list, you have your edit list, but then on the to-do list, you can write, say you need to work on your website this week. Write down, work on website by 8/24.
Gotcha.
That kind of thing. But yeah, the squares are nice and big, so you can write your client's name, time, all that in it.
Yeah. What about like, I'm just trying to think of ideas for it.
No, I love it. No one has really, they're just like, wow, that's really cool. But no one's really bouncing anything with me. And I'm like, I'm just winging it.
Yeah. And I don't want to like, I hate giving suggestions, because let's say like, this is my product. This is what we were talking about earlier.
It's different when you're both excited about it and you're like, oh, this is, and your feelings.
I'm just thinking ideas. I'm just throwing ideas out there. And like, I think they could be part of like future launches.
Yes.
Not during, I'm not saying like, hey, you need to change this for your initial product, but maybe like, a couple products down the line, maybe have like, well, I got 2 things. Maybe one that's customizable.
Yeah.
Where like you could have, maybe if you had like a website where you could, like, it's going to cost you more, but maybe you want like a nice thick planner that has every amenity that you can think of, like every type of, like to-do list, but also has like the dailies, the weeklies, the monthlies, like pages for all of those too. But you have, you're going to have to pay more for something like that. So maybe have like I could see like, I think it'd be cool to maybe have one like that. Cause when I was looking for a planner, I couldn't find a whole lot of options.
Did you want the daily options?
I did, because at one time in my life, I was really trying to like plan out my hours. Like I wanted to give myself like 2 hours to do this. an hour to do this. And I want to know exactly where I was going to have my free time.
Yeah,
And
that makes sense.
I want to do that eventually. But right now my life's too sporadic. So like some days I can have that schedule, but I really like to have like a secretary one day that just does stuff with me. Where I can be like, hey, I need to do this, this, and this. Can we put it on there? And then I know, okay, tomorrow from 7 a.m. till 9 p.m. 9 a.m. I got this going on. I got an hour break, so I can do like I can fill it in, like really plan. I can know exactly how my week's going to be. I like that. I'd like that thought because I like being organized.
I agree. I'm the same. I say I'm kind of the same way. I like being. Some days I really like my whole day planned out for me, and other days I'm like I don't want too much structure. I want to be free. I think it's partly because I have a little bit of OCD. It runs really strong in my family, and I think that's where some of my anxiety comes from. So. Definitely. I have OCD too, so I would definitely say it's probably where it comes from. Mine comes in looped thoughts. That is unfortunately my obsession. Is just like if I will obsess over, and for the most part, it can look like toxic self-improvement. So I'm obsessing over, well, should I have got out of bed? Well, should I have done that differently? Should I have not? And it's like it didn't matter. Should I have not smoked pot at 10 a.m.? Well, you did laundry and you finished 3 sessions. Who cares?
Life still went on.
Life still went on.
Everything worked out perfectly fine.
Yeah, and so I'll obsess over, well, am I doing this the right way? Is my routine, do I need to stick to this routine? Do I need to change this routine? It's just like, sometimes it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, I just want to scream like, shut up.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter. But I understand the wanting everything.
I think it's just preference. I think everybody's going to be different. And so.
Yes, I would like the structure with the flexibility to go, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't.
Yeah.
If my day didn't work out the way that I planned it, that's fine.
Well, anymore, it's kind of like, that's why I didn't continue with it, because my life's it's kind of sporadic right now. And also, like, I can't keep that up for too long. No. Because I would get bored with it. I can't do the same thing every day.
I'm not a monotonous kind of person when it comes to, like, I could never specialize in photography.
I think that's why a lot of people maybe don't enjoy my content as much, because I like to do a lot of different things and I don't stick to one niche.
I think a lot of people enjoy your content.
Well, I'm saying, like, I think maybe like someone like will start following me for the gym. Oh yeah. And then here I am building a house next week, or I'm doing a podcast one week, or I'm coming up with a new idea this next week or something. And so I think when someone follows someone on TikTok, it's because they like this guy I watch, and he walks in, he has a mystery box. So he tries to buy something, and it's $25. He's like, I could give you the $25, or I could give you this mystery box that could be worth a lot more. And I like that dude. And I watch the same video, and he goes into a different place and gets a different reaction. People know what to expect from them. But when they go to my channel, I think they don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I lose a lot of interest.
I know what you're talking about, because I've often wondered. I have a lot of people that followed me when I was doing Temu hauls and Shein hauls and things like that. And I've often wondered, I'm like, I'll post like book talk, or I posted, my Unbothered Era video. And I'm like, but I keep telling myself I might lose some. And I lost like 20 overnight. And I was like, please be bots.
Yeah, right. That's why I don't even pay attention.
I know. Only reason why I'm paying attention right now is because I want to be able to go live. And I'm like, I'm so close. But anyway, I think at the end of the day, there are more people that are actually into that than you think. Like something different every day. And I think as society changes, I think the Midwest is going to be kind of like late to that, just like every other trend. But I think people crave just like open honesty and want to see what people are doing day to day, because they don't really care about the celebrities as much as they used to. If you think about where you get your new music, it's not where we used to get our new music. I could care less about CMT awards. I could care less about the ACMs. To be honest, I could care less about new country music mainstream anyways. It's all overproduced, and record labels have everything to do with everything. And I just think our generation, we see through the bullshit, See,
I can't even get on like the Morgan Wallen train.
No.
I can't get that's what I like, Cole Wetzel. But people ruined it for me because they overhyped it and they were overplaying the stuff. And Yeah,
I do also just think it's
Luke
so
Combs. I
weird.
can't get with Luke Combs either. Like I know everybody
Logan
loves him.
doesn't love Luke Combs either. I loved him until I listened to his Joe Rogan episode, and he said, "Dude, every other sentence."
Yeah, I think someone like Luke Combs is just Nashville produced. I think they're like, we have lots of songs that are wrote already. We just need anyone that can sing it, and we need to find someone that we can give a really cheap contract to, and we're going to take 95% of the guy's money. I'm talking like some big skyscraper in Nashville, and it's like a table of dudes in suits, and they're like, we just need to find someone that's willing to sign a contract and only get paid 5%, and we're going to pay him to sing all these songs. We're gonna make something up for this guy. We're gonna make up a pass for him. And I know it sounds crazy. It's just a conspiracy of mine.
I can get behind it though. I'm like,
I don't know. I just can't get with it anymore. I'm sure he's actually has a really interesting story.
He did. I liked it. I don't know if you watched his interview.
No, I didn't.
If you can get past all the dudes and mans, every other word, it is good. And he does seem like someone we would just chill and drink beer with. He just seems like a good old boy. But I agree that his music is a lot of times his is even better than some. Like we'll listen to like Walker Hayes.
I haven't listened to any.
Oh my god!
Who's the new dude? The red hair guy that's new right now. You know what I'm talking about?
Redhead.
He's been blowing up on an Ariel. You know. Yeah. See if you know this guy. What's the whole controversy about with him, or why is he blowing up?
Oh. Richmond, South or north of Richmond, dude. I do.
Oliver
like that
Anthony.
song.
No, it's Oliver Anthony. Is that the song?
Yeah, Richmond, north of Richmond. Yeah, Logan loves that too.
This is gonna. Hey, you got to pause it real quick.
Yeah,
This is gonna get me copyrighted if we listen to it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't listened to the song. You like it though?
I do like it.
I have to listen to it.
It's hard being an old soul in the new world.
Isn't it? It's not country though, right? It's more like folk.
So I think technically, yeah, they are considering this folk now. This is all I listen to. When I say I listen to country music, it's this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's Childers, it's this guy, it's
Red Dirt and folk. Is that what it?
yeah, Red Dirt.
Tyler Childers is
I was a Red Dirt fan before Red Dirt became hot. Like when I would say 2014 is when I started.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, like I started listening to Cody Johnson the summer of 2014 when I went and visited a guy I was dating in Texas. Like he showed me.
I'm still not a Cody Johnson fan.
Really? Oh, I
Yeah.
love Cody Johnson. Is it too quiet for you? Too slow?
I don't know what it is. When I listen to music, I try to listen to songs. I like emotional music.
Yeah.
I like stories.
Yeah.
in the music, and there is a part of it that like it's just the music itself. Mm-hmm. That's really good. And so it's like a little bit of everything. But yeah, I try to listen to some of his popular stuff and like I just
don't listen to the popular stuff.
See,
yeah, don't.
I don't know what to listen to. I don't know what to listen to.
Fence Post is really good. I'll send you some.
Yeah,
Do you listen to Coulter Wall?
Coulter Wall.
Oh, if you like stories, Kate McCannon is one of the most. I have chill. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
When I think he was 19 when he wrote it. Like, look at this.
Yeah. What's it about? What's the song about?
It's about killing his girlfriend who cheated on him.
Dang.
But there's
one, what's the band that I like, Ariel? Whiskey Myers. I like Whiskey Myers. There's a Broken Window Serenade. I really like that song.
I don't know if I've heard that one. Some of the Red Dirt, I honestly, when I hear the song, I end up knowing it.
Mm-hmm. I bet you would know this one.
Yeah.
It's a big one by him.
Hurricane. I love that one. For some reason, I can't think of who it's by right now.
Band of Heathens?
Yes.
Band of Heathens?
That
Hurricane?
song is just powerful. Like, that just, like, makes, like, people in Louisiana, like, they just got up and that is their drunk song. Like, they're like,
see, that's why I need to talk to somebody that actually listens
I
to
have
it and
goosebumps
has to
too.
actually like the story and music.
I have to have stories in the music, or it just I have a hard time like buying into it. If it's just overproduced, like it just I'm like I can't do it.
Just like the logos, like when it if there's no passion in it, if it just doesn't, you
If
can
it's
like
flat,
you can just like feel it, like something
Yeah.
about it. You can just sniff it out, and you're like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel like with music. Like if I'm listening to it, I'm just like, I don't know. There's no like emotion
There's no
in it.
emotion, yeah.
Then
or like all like
that's
Cole
not it.
Swindell's stuff. Don't get me wrong, I do love his version of Heads Carolina. I think it's a fun party song. Don't know that I'd super consider it country though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it just is one of those like, wow, yeah, that would sell really good for the radio, but that's about it.
Right.
Like it's not the song that.
And that's how I feel
Changes
about a lot of new
somebody's life.
country is that it's just being sold to play on the radio.
It's all about the money.
Yeah.
And that it's just all, and that's sad when it happens like that.
Yeah, it is very sad. And that's why I listen to a lot of old.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I have a hard time when someone's like, hey, you should listen to this person. I'm just like, I don't know if I really want to listen to it because I've tried a lot of new music and it's just never what the people say.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I have a hard time just trying to listen to
Cole,
new stuff.
the song Cole by Dylan Gossett, I think is how you say his last name. Oh my God. Like
That's a good one,
that
too.
song is so good. He like one of the lyrics to the main lyric of the song is if pressure makes diamonds, then why the hell am I still coal? And it just was like, I heard that line. I was like, that's a life-changing line.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You know, like they're like that's the kind of songs that I like. Is just like that life-changing moment where you're like, yeah, like I resonate with this song so much.
Right.
And I just don't resonate with new country because like I'm not all about getting drunk and chasing tail and
Yeah, partying on Broadway.
Partying on
picking up
Broadway.
chicks or whatever.
like I actually think Broadway is the least coolest part of Nashville.
Really? I've never been to
I've
Nashville.
been 6 times.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it is the least cool part of Nashville.
I think now I wouldn't like it just because there's too many people. I would enjoy going
Day
to the
drinking
bars and
is
stuff.
fun.
Yeah, I just don't want to be around it because I don't even feel like it's my kind of people anymore.
It's not.
It's
I
like
mean,
the city country folk.
It is. And don't get me wrong, I have never had a bad time in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is a good time every time you go, but it just, like, Broadway gets old. And every time we go, I feel like I'm going with someone that's never experienced Broadway. And you have to experience Broadway once. But, I mean,
I like to go to the bar and I like to listen to music
Mm-hmm.
and I like to drink beer, but I'm not partying.
yeah.
Like I want to go and
I
like I
like
want
it
to.
during the day then.
You think so?
Because it's more, there's live music
Calmer?
all day. It's way calmer. Like, people are drinking, but they're, like, bobbing their heads, you know.
Yeah, I don't want to be bumping shoulders with people and like
No.
fighting to get up to the bar.
Yeah. Yeah, I would go
not
too
fun
in an
for me.
off season because then it's still good music, but it's not as crowded.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's what I like hole in the wall bars.
I do
That's
too.
me. Like hole in the wall bar,
Butts.
one guy playing the guitar. Like that's fun to me.
Well, if you like that and you like old stuff, then you should go to Sputs on Wednesday nights because Don Hayes plays
Really? On Wednesdays?
on Wednesday nights at 6.
What a crazy, how late does he play?
I don't know. I never stay very late. I'd say probably 6 to 9. As long as there's people there listening. He
I have to check it out.
He has a residency there.
I know you love Sputs.
I love Sputs.
Yeah.
it's
That's like your bar, right?
my bar. They Sput, the owner Sput, he takes very good care of us. He's very sweet. We're like one of his kids.
It's like it's a hike for me.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's like it would.
Especially on a Wednesday. Because Monday to Friday, I'm in grind mode.
Yeah.
So I'm just like head down, focused on like getting stuff done.
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, that's my time I take to like go out and do
I
something.
feel like I don't know that they do. I don't know if they do anything on the weekends really anymore. They used to have bands.
You
full
would think they
bands,
would
but-
though.
So Spud says he doesn't like having full bands because it brings in fights.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, and I think he's like that. The cops have been called a couple different times for fights during big parties like that, and he's like, I'm not messing with it. I don't. He goes, that's the last thing we need is like cops becoming stationed out here.
Right.
You know, pulling people over as they're passing out.
Yeah, and it just gets to be like that place where people are going like, oh, last time I went there, a bunch of fights broke out. Mm-hmm. Like I don't want to go to a bar
No.
where people are fighting.
I'm never there late enough for a fight to break out. I feel like we're like so we made our dinner reservation for 5:00 the other day. We always make our reservation for 5:00. And when we leave our house, we leave 15 minutes early. And I'm like, Logan, when we go to Matt's at 5, we are with all the old people. Mm-hmm. Like there are people in their 70s to 80s.
I went to Matt's for the first time about a month ago. It was good.
it. I
Yeah,
love
but it was all old people.
It was because did you go early?
Yeah, it was like 5:00.
Yes, I know, but I don't know. I like it.
I got one more question for your product.
Yes.
What do you have a price point? Like when people are looking at buying it, do you have a price point for them yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not
Still
yet.
trying to figure that out.
I had to plug that all in on the KDP. Right when I thought I was going to start figuring all of that stuff out was when I realized that I had all 2023 and 2024 dates, and I needed 2024 and 2025.
Yeah, because when you start working on it,
You just are grinding out, yeah, and you're like thinking of this year. And I also thought that this was something that I was going to publish in March, and I just ended up getting too busy. It was just like how we had all these big plans when we were talking on the podcast of mine that you were on.
so are you going to announce it
Yeah.
in
I'm gonna-
October, or are you going to launch it in October?
I think I'm going to launch it in October because I want to have build up. I'm going to do photo shoots with it. They'll send me an author's copy to my address. And then I can take pictures, like pretty staged pictures of it and things like that. That way I can put it on my website, and I'm just going to link it to Amazon. I'm lazy.
Sure.
I'm not going to get a Shopify.
I'm sure you have some ideas
I do.
for some
I
marketing
do.
for it.
And I honestly, like, I'm just I'm in my unbothered era. I'm like, it's just going to work out. It's all just going to work out.
Yeah, I think it will.
I think it will.
I think there's going to be a lot of photographers. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are in photography following you.
Well, and I think if I have the 1,000 followers on TikTok will also let me be on TikTok Shop.
Oh, cool. Yes, you're right.
So
That's
if
cool.
I could be on TikTok Shop and people are buying these, I mean,
Yeah, it helps a lot.
it will.
So are you going to, for advertising wise, are you going to have like your own personal page for it on like Facebook, Instagram, or is it going to be just...
At this point, I don't think so. I've purposely branded myself as just Kaitlin Mace or Kate Mace. So that way I could have my name as a brand, and that just includes everything underneath me versus, because like on it, it says Bustle Planner by Kaitlin Mace. Actually,
Cool.
I think it says by Kate Mace.
Cool.
So, yeah.
So it's all going to be directed off of your personal
Mm-hmm.
profile.
Yes. And for right now, it's all going to be directed to Amazon KDP because that is just the least effort amount. And I need something that's kind of low effort right now. This is just something that I want to have residual income through. This isn't what I want to be my main hustle yet. Or I say yet, but maybe or ever. This might just be something that I can relaunch every year because it's so easy. Once I have like the template, it's pretty easy to just kind of replace the graphics and things like that. But like you said, expand upon it. Like if it does take off, absolutely, I'll expand upon and maybe add other office needs or whatever.
Yeah, I think the possibilities could be endless.
Yeah.
And I think that if you have the product and then you ask people for reviews on it, like that's how you're going to figure stuff out.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Jeff Walker's The Launch, he kind of talks a little bit about that. And he talks about the importance of having, like, building an email list, because he's like, whenever you're doing this pre-hype or this pre-launch, and you're gonna do some pre-hype for it, right? You're gonna do some advertising, some marketing to show people that the product's coming before the product's actually available. And he talks about like that's like a really good way to try to drive traffic to your website and get people to sign up for an email list, because then you can put them in a specialized email list of like clients or a community that follows your product that is really interested in it.
It's funny you bring that up because me and Sam were just talking about email marketing before I got here.
Yeah, and I think I never really looked at it as a very important thing, but after reading the book, I was like, okay, this is actually probably one of the most important things I'm going to focus on.
It is.
Because every time you have a launch in the future, these people sign up for your email list because they want to know more about it. And he talks about, you can ask on social media for people's opinion, but you can send all these people that sign up for your email list, be like, what would you guys like to see in this planner?
Send them a Survey Monkey or something.
Yeah, and then they can just like make it as simple as possible.
That's
they get to
really
fill it out.
See, and like that's something that I didn't even think about. I'm just like, I'm just gonna put it on Amazon KDB and hope it works out.
Yeah, but before it even launches, if there's like, maybe they say, oh, we want a what's the customer relations management thing, CRM,
yeah,
like maybe like a CRM so if like everyone's like
MailChimp, yeah,
something that they can add into, like if you ask them, what would you guys like to see added to the planner? Is there anything that you guys would like in it? maybe even give them some options.
Oh,
like,
yes,
would you like
yes.
to see a CRM? Would you guys like to see daily stuff? Or I don't know. I don't know how you would structure it, but like put it out there and see if they're interested. Or maybe just colors. Like what like styles.
And that's the part I
would you
think
guys like to see?
that I definitely want, because that was honestly the hardest part, was picking out the cover, because I wanted something that wasn't super boho or super classic or super this. I just wanted it to be like, it would look good no matter what outfit you're wearing, what camera bag you had. Because for the most part, I do feel like this is going to be a female focused. That's just probably going to be my market clientele.
Sure.
They're the easiest to sell to. They just are.
I feel like you have to
are.
have like a client, like a focused clientele.
You do, yeah. So
Who are you selling to?
I built my target client. She probably shops at Target. She definitely loves getting local coffee instead of going to Starbucks. She is between the age of 21 and 42. She's been doing photography for probably 3 to 5 years, so she knows what's missing. She, and I just kept going, what does she wear? She probably dresses down when she's at home, but she likes a good, cute outfit every now and then to go out. She prefers wine over beer, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's my client.
Awesome.
That's
yeah, and
like
I think
who I'm
that's
going.
important to have. I think you got to have that so you know who to sell to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I think if you had like a way to have them in an email list to be able to communicate with them, and then that way, whenever if they say they wanted like this CRM, is that right? CRM?
Yeah.
Customer
I'm actually
relations
really glad that you
manager or
brought this
something?
up, because I did not know what CRM stood for. I just knew what it did until you said, what did you?
I think it's customer relation management or something. Can you look it up, Ariel?
Yeah.
Yeah, customer relations management or manager. But
Yeah.
I could see maybe.
Yeah, because my photo gallery that I use actually just integrated a CRM system. in
Yeah.
it. So now all my contracts and my booking is on the same as my cloud gallery. So I only have one website to go to, which is like the whole point of what I wanted, like in the planner, because it's for photographers. I feel like you kind of do need an online CRM system, because it needs to be easy for you. We're not running around meeting all of our clients. A lot of my clients live here or Sullivan. Some, like half of them live in Rolla, so it just isn't feasible for me to be like bringing them a paper contract and having them sign it. And same with, I think I want to look through this and see if I can do an email list through that.
I would say you can find a way to set up an email.
Yeah.
list.
If not, I'll just use MailChimp, but that's
something that you could build, because you have the people that follow you.
yeah.
But you have so something else he talks about is, I keep getting a notification for a
Oh, you're
podcast
fine.
tomorrow. You could have like this personalized thing where you could send them an email, maybe with like some free content of something, like some ideas,
Content ideas.
or
tips.
just something that's personalized to them that nobody else gets to unless you're subscribed to the email list. So where you can communicate with them in more private, like or just like maybe send out like a friendly reminder or a thank you or something like that.
Yeah. Because even at the end of the year, it'd be like, have you transferred over to the new year? Like things like that. And just like,
Or maybe helpful tips of how to like organize better.
yeah.
Because I'm sure you have tons of like organization ideas or tips that you've learned along the way that maybe like this 2-year in photographer it doesn't know about yet. So maybe you could send maybe you could make a video.
Yeah.
Like it's like a personal video of just like, hey, this is some of the things that I do in photography to make my life easier. And here's how I
even
incorporate
with
it.
the planner itself,
Yeah.
being like, here's how you can fully utilize your bustle planner.
Yes. And send that to them.
Look at us having a strategy meeting in the middle of a podcast.
I just think that's like the cool part about the Jeff Walker the launch
Yeah.
is it helped me give some ideas too, but those are the kind of things that I'm working on as well for my product. Is
Yeah.
like, what can I do to make this launch and make this product the best it can be?
I love that.
Like how can I maximize
Yes.
this product I'm putting out there? Because the product that I'm making, I'm really passionate about.
I'm so excited about the product you're making. I'm just going to tease everyone. It's genius. We'll just go with that.
Well, I think I would say likewise for your product too, because you obviously love photography.
Yeah.
You really are passionate about what you do, and I really love podcasts. That's why I do one all the time. That's why I try to keep it going and I try to get better all the time. and you're doing it to help other people, and like I think that's really important.
Yes,
that's
I
who
think
you are.
that should be the center of everything, is how can I help other people?
Yeah.
Above myself, most of the time. So every once in a while, you got to put yourself above.
You certainly do.
Yeah, you definitely
You have to put yourself first, make sure that you're good. But if you're good, you can help other people.
Make sure your cup's full and then divvy it out.
Yes, absolutely. So I think that's what's so cool about your product. Because it's something that it's like very Kaitlin Mace.
Thank you. I love that. That makes me excited because I didn't want people to be like, it almost felt like this was the what's next. I didn't want to ever do anything that didn't seem authentic to me. I've had so many people reach out and want me to join teams for network marketing or things like that. And it's like the reason is always because your clients just trust you so much. You have such a good rapport with people. You have, such a great reputation. It's like, well, I have that reputation because I don't do anything that isn't true to myself. I am not afraid to quit something that doesn't feel like it's true to me.
Yeah.
Like I am just fine with it, especially if I know I'm not going to leave someone high and dry. I found out that I wasn't made for leadership team this year when it came to the collective. I enjoyed it much better when I stepped down. I don't like seeing what happens behind the scenes.
Sure.
It makes the magic go away. Same thing with marketing. I think I see through bullshit of marketing because I deal with it every day and it just isn't magical anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's a very good trait. I think that's how most people should be.
I like to think so.
Yeah, I would like to think so too. So I think we should probably wrap the podcast.
I know.
up.
I didn't realize what time it was until you checked your notification. I was like, oh my gosh.
We've been in it for a minute. I think that's very exciting. Your new product that's coming out. Thank you for talking about it for the first time on my podcast. That's awesome. I think it'll do great. You've been in, how long, you've been doing it for how many years now? Photography?
13 to 14. I think 13 professionally, 14 being just a 14-year-old kid.
Okay, I would say 14 then, because at the end of the day, I was still doing it. You were still doing it. So what your product you're putting out is definitely going to reflect all your knowledge and experience in the field, which I would say you're very highly qualified for it. Yeah. So I think everyone's really going to like it. I hope it goes well. If anyone that's listening to the podcast is interested in it, photographers, because there's when you come on, you bring your community on with you. Yeah. So they're listening to what's Kaitlin Mace up to, what's Kaitlin Mace got going on now. So she came out with this new product. By the time this is coming out, you're going to be doing some initial pre-launch things on it.
I'll have my email list done by then.
Definitely get a good email list set up. I think because there's going to be people that are like, yes, I want to get it. Yeah. And the difference between social media and an email list is they might miss it on social media. You might post it and it might just go right past them. But if they sign up for an email list, they're going to get it. Yes. It's going to be in their emails.
They can even sign up for text if I launch enough products eventually. I can't believe we're even talking about future launches. Like, this is not something that I planned on. Like, this just makes so much sense. You're right. How can we expand on this?
Yeah. Why not? Why not give the people what they want?
Yeah.
If you guys are listening and you guys sign up for the email list, I'm sure there'll be a time where you're going to be reaching out to them, being like, what do you guys want in this product? So they can also help you build this product. Yes. And it's not
I'm very open to that too. I know I said early in the episode, I don't like unsolicited opinions, but this will be a solicited.
Exactly. So, and it's photographers building their photographer planner the way they want it. Yes. So you reach out, like you might be the mastermind behind it all, but they're the ones helping forge this and
I think it'll be definitely good, like expanded outside of our area too, because I think I don't know how to word this.
Well, Sally in California that really wants this planner that you're getting ready to make, she can sign up for the email list. And when you send this question out, like, hey, what should we put in it? And she's like, I really want a CRM in it. Yes. She can answer that in the survey. You get the survey back. 5,000 people said they all want CRMs. Boom. Next launch. Yeah. Guess what the planner's got? A CRM in it. And then now Sally's like, I always wanted it. I love that I'll get to be a part of this community that's making this planner. She doesn't actually, because she's too busy already, raising her kids, being married, and doing photography. She don't have time to try to go out and make. And that is my
direct client market, is like the busy mom that needs something to keep everything in one spot. Yeah. That she won't be able to lose it.
The hustle and bustle.
The hustle and bustle.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, Kaitlin, thank you so much for coming back on the podcast. It was
Yeah.
great. If you guys are still listening, make sure you guys like, subscribe. We're still going for 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So
Well, we're gonna try. What are we at?
we're at, Ariel, can you pop it up real quick? I think we're at like 511, 515. So we're over halfway
Okay.
there. So if you guys can,
Share the shit out of this.
yeah, if you guys can, help me out. Share it with your friends. Tell them to go
Yeah.
subscribe. We're gonna get there eventually. We're slowly
Absolutely.
moving the needle. And Kaitlin, thank you again.
Yeah. Anytime.
See you guys.
Yeah.